Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome. Figured we would do something a little bit different today. Just chatting through the whole time. That way there's not really that much pressure from me having to sit here and make a loop or something like that. Can have time to do all sorts of fun stuff. So YouTube doesn't let you send links in the chat for some reason. Excuse me. So what I've done instead is create a Google Doc where everyone should have permission to comment on it. And so I will go ahead and get that in the chat in just a moment. I got to make sure everything posted correctly. Announcing the stream. There we go. Add post to story. Do the sticker. Hello, everybody. Raised says, whoa. Jason Lee says, can't wait. Clinton says, hello once again. Hello, Clinton. How you doing? Kenshi says, hi there. Hi, Kenshi. How you doing? Welcome. All right, so for those of you that are here now before everybody else comes in, there is a link to a Google Doc. If you want me to take a look at a project or your work or something like that, please feel free to comment the link to that on that doc, and I'll be checking through that and choosing pieces to review or just take a look at, and we'll chat about it. That'll be fun. 1 second. Chatting motion. Cool. There we go. All right, everything is all posted. Everything's good. Clinton says, I can't get enough of your animations. I appreciate that. Shani says, hey. Hey, Shani, how you doing? Welcome. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and put, is there a way to like pin a link in the chat on this? Oh, there is. That's wonderful. Okay, cool. There is a pinned link at the top of the chat that is a place where if you want your work reviewed, you can go ahead and link your work there, and I will be taking a look through that doc and checking some cool stuff out. And other than that, just general Q&A. It's a little bit difficult for me to focus on giving answers to more detailed questions and those sorts of things when I'm trying to animate at the same time. So today is a good opportunity to just ask any general questions or anything. Happy to answer as best I can. Feel free to dive deep. We are not afraid of just about anything. I mean, we did post our like 3/4 year revenue on the Ruby account last year. So we are pretty open book on that front. And other than that, in between those different things, I'll be taking a look through some of my really old projects. I've got a hard drive on here that's dates back to like 2015, and I was freelancing pretty consistently from 2015 until 2020. So lots and lots of really old stuff on there. Should be fun. Cool. Let me move this over. Lots of people putting links in the doc. Glad to see it. Make sure I get off of that. XVicOP says, hi, sir. Hello and welcome. Cool. Alrighty. Give everybody a second to pop in here, and then we will be good. I guess to kick it off, we can look through some of my older stuff. Let me pull some things up. If I go in here, there shouldn't be anything spooky in here that wouldn't be able to be shown, because this is all pretty old. Let's find, I think I just have a folder in here called old stuff. There we go. All right. So I didn't start doing motion design until, I guess it would have to be late 2018, early 2019, something like that. I guess it's got to be a little longer than that. Like mid 2018, let's say, like 3-4 years ago ish. So a lot of my work before then was just working in static graphics and branding, primarily for people in the esports community or smaller YouTubers and those sorts of things in the gaming space. So there's lots of social media banners and things going on. I'll actually pull up my old portfolio, which is still up. I have the domain still. I have the email attached to a bunch of stuff, so it would be a real pain to have to take it down now. But anyway, we've got old motion projects, but the really old stuff, I mean, there's some in here, but I was doing banners and headers and profile pictures for all sorts of different people on social media throughout the years. I think we might have looked through this on another stream, actually. But all sorts of really, really old stuff on there we can take a look through. Clinton says, I'm interested in making animations for now without the timing of music. Interesting. That can be difficult, but I hope it goes well. XVic says, make some basic to advanced tutorial on After Effects. Maybe. I might do that at some point. We're looking to make tutorials in some way, but don't have a super solid plan on that yet, but I'll keep everybody posted on that. Let's dive into the depths. I just want to see what the oldest stuff on here is. Oh, wait, actually, that'll probably be a really good thing. All right, so a little bit of backstory on me. I started doing design work around 7th grade for me, and that's I don't even know how many years ago that is. Probably nine years or something. And so right from the jump, I didn't know what freelancing was or any of that stuff. So, and I really just had no industry knowledge. I knew I just wanted to make design for, especially on social media. That's where I was following lots of stuff. And then anyway, so right from the get-go, I started a team. It was called, well, there was one that was called Tech Wave, and that one, we were going to like make our own mice and keyboards or something. At least that's what we said. I had no way to do that as like a 12 or 13-year-old, so I don't know what I was saying. But anyway, that quickly morphed into me doing graphic design for people, and we called it like Tech Reperio or something, which means tech discovery in Latin. I don't know why tech had to be in front of everything, but that's just what we did. And I might have some stuff from that time, but not on this computer. I'll have to find that at some point. But where things really started to get a little bit more serious was after I was done with Tech Reperio and felt like I needed a fresh start. I partnered up with one of my friends who did web development, so he could make a website for us and essentially do like e-commerce graphic design, where we would be doing like somebody could go on the site and then pay $5 and get a whole package. It was all really, really underpriced. Anyway, and so Oblivion Designs is like maybe 3 iterations ago. So there's Oblivion Designs. Here's the timeline. We got Oblivion Designs. Then we got Blueprint Studios was the next one. Then we got Bowens Branding, and then we got Revi, where I joined forces with Noah, and things really started to take shape. Anyway, so I'll show some of the Oblivion Design stuff in a minute. I actually made a frame-by-frame little promo video for myself at that time, and it's really funny to watch back. I made everything in Photoshop and then sequenced it all in Windows Movie Maker because I didn't know how to use Premiere yet. So we'll take a look at that, but I'll look at some of these questions in the chat. Clinton says graphic design really helps. I agree. I think having a graphic design foundation is extremely helpful for motion designers. Sway says, yo. Jason says, hey, Austin, how have you been? I got so many questions for you. Well, ask away. That's what I'm here for today. I'll be streaming until like 2:50 p.m. EST, maybe 3 p.m. EST. So another like basically 2 hours. Sway says, I can barely see the screen. I'll make stuff full screen if need be. But for now, just doing a side-by-side, move shapes. Oh, how you doing, John? Welcome. BZOA says, hello. Wade says, are you currently studying or are you going to take graphic design as your main job? I started doing design really, really young. And then by the time I went to college for it, I was probably 6 or 7 years in. And so I went for 2 years. Then Noah and I decided we wanted to do Ruby, and so we left college and are doing design full time. BZOA says, let's see it. And Clinton says, I also started in Windows Movie Maker. All right, well, let me pull up the video and we will take a look. If I can find it. Oh, or is it? Oh, it's all private, isn't it? So I'd have to log into a different YouTube account, I think. Okay, I'll figure that out. Give me just a second. Oh yeah, also, for those of you that are coming in now, there is a doc at the top of the chat that you can click and add your work to this Just Chatting Work Links doc. And I will be going through these and doing previews of people's projects and things. It should be pretty fun. So take a look at that. I'll put the doc in there again, but it should be pinned at the top. Let me find this. I should have had this prepared, honestly. It's not this one, is it? Oh, nope, but that is a frame-by-frame animation, all right. Oh boy. Yeah, the logo definitely had a lot going on back then. This is 6 years ago now, 6-7 years ago. Really, really rough, all put together in Movie Maker. But where is that? I'll have to find it on my phone or something. Go to my channel. 1 second. There it is. All right, and then it is private. Tragic. I mean, I guess that makes sense though. All right, there we go. I just unlisted it, so I should be able to find it now. 1 second. Send it to myself on Discord. All right, here we go. All right, here's a premiere for y'all. This thing only I guess it got 200 something views or something by this point, but it was uploaded 2016, and now unlisted. Here we go. Let me make sure the audio's up. And here we go. This is the premier design agency from back in the day. Here we go. Oh, it's on speaker. Shucks. I did the same thing yesterday. All right, here we go. God, I forgot how long this thing is. Oh my God. Okay, what to even unpack there? So this is like early 2016. We're like 6.5 years ago making this frame by frame in, actually, frame by frame in Photoshop and then sequencing everything in Movie Maker, like exporting each individual image. So what to even unpack? I was laughing throughout because there's just, I mean, first of all, some of these statements are just hilarious. Like, I'm sorry. We are Oblivion Designs. That's fine. We design for you. So does everybody else. So that claim doesn't really mean anything. And we do it well. We're one of the only businesses that solely work in graphic design. I mean, I know at the time I was trying to say that to be like, we're only focused on graphic design, whereas lots of other companies are doing, like, I don't know, making computers or something and not focused on graphic design. But there's so many companies that are doing graphic design and motion design and all sorts of different things in the design space that it's just a very funny claim to say we're one of the only people in this gigantic industry. I find that pretty funny. Let me look at some of these questions. Jason says, I've applied to at least 300 companies so far in the past couple of months, and so far no luck. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not good enough for the industry. Should I be more patient? Well, I mean, there's lots of different factors that go into this, but it depends on how long you've been working in the space. Like, what does your portfolio look like? How many different pieces do you have? Like, what are the types of companies you're trying to work with and those sorts of things? Are you trying to work in-house at a company that needs a graphic designer, or working for an agency, or freelancing? I don't know. But it can take a while to find the right fit. But I definitely need more information to be a little bit more precise in my answer on that. Clinton says, I'm in my second year learning animation. Watching the pros, I feel sad sometimes until I hear the length of the time they are at it. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm still fairly young, and so when we go to conferences or something, lots of folks that have been in the industry longer and like started later than me are often very shocked at how young we are. But then I remember that I started doing this when I was 12, so it's almost 9-10 years at this point. John says $350 for a profile picture. Can I still order? Absolutely. They're gonna fly off the shelves. Limited supply. Did you know we're one of the only businesses that solely focuses on graphic design? I bet you didn't know that. What's the sign? Somebody said our prices are the lowest in the business. I mean, I bet they were at the time. We really should have capitalized on it. But geez, man. Let's see. Flotet says, lol. Rishabh says, looks like a Fiverr portfolio. Absolutely. This is the time where I was doing work on places like Upwork and those sorts of things. Jason Lee says, very basic yet straight to the point. Yeah. He also says, OMG, was that Zexy Zek? Yeah, I rebranded his channel in 2018, I think. That's one of the big projects that I had on my old portfolio. Lazy Dragon says, the dedication to make this frame by frame in Photoshop. Motion with Nas says, yo, Austin. How you doing, Nas? Glad to see ya. Jonathan DG says, hello, how are you? Doing well? Fun times. Move Shape says, any tips on what one should do to not be jobless after uni? Asking for a friend. Making connections, incredibly useful. Also, I mean, part of the way I found your account, John, was because people like Greg Stewart from Ordinary Folk and Oddfellows and other people were already following you and like had posted some of your work or something. So just continuing to make connections and building that word of mouth network is extremely, extremely valuable. More than most other things, I would say. You could also get a position at someplace temporarily, like for a few months or something, while you're trying to figure out what you want to do. You could just be a contractor for them or something. Most places are pretty open to that. V says, I feel ya. I also started at 13. Now I'm 24, almost 10 years. Jason Lee says, I used to watch Sexy Zek when I was a kid. Brings back memories. So he says, Austin trying hard to not spill out water. Factual. Rishabh says, have you seen the Beat Water video? I think they did a good job with the typography and motion design. If you want, you can put it on the Beat Eater. If you want, you can put it on the doc, and I can take a look at it. But anyway, I find this video to be absolutely hilarious looking back. I had another one, I think, on the actual Oblivion Designs YouTube channel or something. Let me try and find that really quick. Oblivion Designs. I love that my own stream comes up when I search for that. Oh yeah, the channel is there. Oh, but it doesn't have the old one. That's unfortunate. There's a wallpaper speed art on here. That's fun. I used to do speed arts used to be such a big thing. Rishabh says it's not letting me edit the doc. You can't edit it, but you can comment or suggest on the doc. And I'll just copy paste the link. Grant says, how do I put things on the doc? There you go. There is a doc link at the very top of the chat or there that I just pasted, and you can copy paste into any one of these slots here, and I'll take a look at it. I'll probably start doing those around 1:30, so in the next 7 minutes or so. Italo says, how to stay motivated after working hours. Sometimes the last thing that I want to look at is a screen and design. I don't know, because I feel you. If I had like a super long day or something, it would be really difficult for me to then sit and do a stream. That's why I had to reschedule the stream, not this week's but last week's, because we just had a super busy week and I wasn't going to be able to have the energy to stream after work. And that's one of the things that I really like doing, is just making animations for myself. But sometimes you just gotta give yourself a break. And be all right with that. That's for sure. If not like right after work or something, I mean, just try and block out some time on a weekend or something. Just a super short amount of time, and then in that amount of time, just make something. That's the only goal by the end of that time. That way it alleviates some of the pressure of it having to be this perfect thing, because you only gave yourself like 2 hours or something. Like, treat yourself like the client a little bit in that situation, I think. I think that's helpful. All right, let's take a look at this speed art, shall we? I'm curious. Probably just got some music on it, right? Oh, some spooky music. What is going on here? See, I got the movie maker down there. TeamSpeak, old Windows 7 days. Just sitting in Photoshop. What is happening here? Oh yeah, I used to use graphics packs back in the day. Yikes. Nobody's watched this video since 2017, so it's taking forever for it to load, I'm sure. What is happening here? Oh man. That's rough. I wish that I had one of these stores, or the store still up, but we had to take the website down, and because I didn't want to keep paying for the domain. I don't own this anymore. Tragically, it would be good to look back on, but anyway. Clinton says, motion graphics has taught me patience. Yeah, that's for sure. And Italo says, makes sense, thanks man. Yeah, of course. And I'll add on to that a little bit. It doesn't have to be some big, like, fully thought out thing that you make. I think as long as you are just consistently making something, even if it's a small piece or something, I think that's great. All right. Artem says, hi, can you show your favorite commercial projects? I can do that. Let me slot out some time to do that. I'll look through these projects for, John says, do we have to link our work? If you want me to look at it, I'd appreciate if it was in the doc or something, so I get a specific piece of work to look at. But anyway, yeah, I'll block out some time in like 30 minutes to look at some of my favorite commercial projects. It's funny because we just had Ronell, our motion graphics intern, start 2 weeks ago, and that was the thing we did on his first day when he came over to the house. We just sat in the studio with the big TV and the lights and stuff, and just watched projects from all of our favorite studios and artists. It was really awesome. Set a timer for 30 minutes. All right, so we'll do that. We'll do that in 30, but for now, I will take a look through some of these. Let me bring them up. All right, we got one, and for whatever reason, this one got like removed or something. I'll start bringing these over. And then this one. And we'll take a look through some of these projects. Whoops, that one opened in a whole new tab. There we go. All right, and go to this one. Okay, and then after I get through those, I will come back and get through these. Here we go. Move shape says, nah, I mean, can I add something I did not make to the doc? Oh yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be your work at all. If there's just any projects you want me to look at and comment on, I'm happy to do that. People can link whatever videos they want. Raised says, been trying to make my project weekly to post on Twitter, just find it really hard to get the spark. That's what that time limit has helped me with. I only allow myself a pretty small amount of time to get an idea out. I usually only give myself an hour or two, and by the end of that time I have to have something, and that pressure helps me a good bit. Or just coming up with a word and then trying to base off of that, or trying to base a concept off of that is fun too. Clinton says, have you made any headway on getting the Discord? Our production intern, Alex, starts this week. Her first day is actually tomorrow, so that'll probably be early conversations that we're having. We'll center around that. But I will keep everybody posted on that. For those of you that don't know, we're looking to essentially make a community Discord of some kind, potentially doing challenges and other things like that. But anyway, here we go. Let's look at Rafi's first, which is actually raised. Here we go. Says, Photoshop, this project challenged me by solving the whole transition between scenes and getting used to the AI AE workflow. I'm the type doing the entire process in AE. Let me know what you guys think. Cool. That's awesome. Challenged me by solving the whole transition between scenes and getting used to the... Cool. That's dope. So everything here was made in Photoshop, I'm assuming. Let me actually change my OBS to, it's lying. We're not actually animating right now, but this way the screen's a little bit bigger. I'm not animating. It's not happening today. Lazy Dragon says, I might have posted my show reel. Please don't banish me. No, it's totally fine. You can put reels on here. You can put projects. I really don't care. I just want to look at cool work. That's all. But all right, let's take a look through this. That's dope. Oh, and it loops. We love loops. All right, I'm gonna get stuck watching it over and over again. This is fantastic, and I believe that Rafi, you're on Ravi's freelancer list actually, because I saw your other project that you posted that was about After Effects. This is fantastic. The loop is incredible. The overall color palette and compositions are really, really nice. And this scene has just an incredible wow moment. Really well synced with the music. Although, I mean, did you have like a sound designer work on this or something? It really feels like it's just super well timed. That's awesome. I guess I should have turned this down, but that's fantastic. Super cool. I love that like flick over there. Okay, so I'll go through like just one tiny thing that I had. So on first watch, I saw this, but my eye was immediately drawn over here to this ball. I mean, that makes sense because it's the thing that's moving. And so you have it working with gravity. Like you've already established that, oh, this is a real object and it's falling down these stairs, and like that repetitive motion is being set up. So that by the time it gets down here, I kind of expected it to bounce again. So I think that you could still do this transition to that location marker popping up, but instead maybe you could have had it like form as the ball bounces back up, because you need to get it to, although I see because it was down there, maybe it could have gone like, you can see my mouse cursor, it could have gone like bounce up and then like loop down here and bring that up. That way it just would have followed the that same sort of motion that you'd already set up before. But anyway, Oh yeah, I was just making sure. John says you turned it down too quiet. I was just making sure that my audio wasn't getting cut out by it. But yeah, that was really the only thing I noticed on a first watch. Everything looks really, really cool. I've always been pretty scared of After Effects 3D and doing things like this. So I always really admire when people can make this work right. And this like depth of field that you have going on is super, super cool. I'm assuming it's just like it's a mask up here with some sort of camera lens blur set. Ooh, excuse me, set to it. But it looks really, really nice. Very well done. Absolutely fantastic. Let's watch it through one more time, and then I'll move on to the next one. Actually, let me bring it up all the way. So good, man. Well done. Congratulations. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know how I didn't see this, given I'm not on Twitter as much these days, so that could be why. But anyway, I like that a lot. All right, here we go. I don't know if this is somebody's from the chat or if it's just a piece they like, but we'll take a look at this. Ray's says that's correct since they disabled depth of field for 3D Cinema 4D on After Effects. Ah, I gotcha. Cool. This one says special thanks to Leo Alexander for amazing character. Hope you like the animation. Cool. Oh, is there sound on it? Oh no, there's no sound. This is super sick. It's got really good weight to everything. I personally am not really great at character animation. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, so I don't have that much to comment on it. But the grain is super, super cool. Love the eye. What else? Let's see. The flex in not only just the finger waving, but just the little movement that's on these strokes that are on the hand is it's really subtle, but it sells it. Something to me feels a bit weird about like the point where the legs connect to the torso. It feels like it feels like it's kind of just sitting still. Like the rest of the body I feel like is moving kind of forward, but if I just concentrate on this section, I can kind of tell that it's not really being animated to move to the right. I'm not quite sure how I would fix that, but anyway, super cool. Super, super cool. Well done. All right, we got a show reel next. Cool. And then I had stopped there. Cool. Alrighty, let's watch a show reel, shall we? Looks like Wilt from Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. I totally agree. It's very much in that universe. All right, here we go. Yugam. I hope that I said that right. Here we go. Okay. Very cool. There's some really cool shots in here, especially this section that kind of looks like the old Aha music video with like the hand-drawn. If nobody's checked that out, Aha Take On Me music video. Absolutely nuts. Everything is almost completely hand-drawn. It's fantastic. But anyway, this reminded me of that a lot. These jets are crazy looking. I cannot imagine doing that. So, and then overall, the general length of the reel is good. Like, I think that around, I don't personally think that reels should be longer than 30 to 45 seconds, unless there's just like that much work to show. But I have some comments on this for sure. So, let's see. Generally, it, like, the reel itself is not that long, but it feels like you spend a bit too long on some of these shots in the reel. So let's take like this one. Well, and somebody in the chat says this felt a bit repetitive. I agree, because I mean, we kind of already we see this shot here, and then it's kind of the same one here again. It's like, I'd rather just see one clip from each project, unless there's like a lot of diversity within the project, than have to see like the entire video within the project, you know, or the entire video within the reel, which I don't think you did. But like, each one of these feels like it's probably 5 seconds or so on screen, and it kind of feels like by the time I'm midway through that 5 seconds, I kind of already know what's going to happen in the rest of the scene and what it's going to look like. So it doesn't feel like there needs to be as much time spent on each shot for sure. I think you could totally get by with having a shorter reel that's cut a bit faster to the music. That would be probably my first tip. And then, yeah, if there's any way to have more diversity in the projects that you're showing, instead of showing multiple clips from the same ones throughout, that would be really, really cool. Unless you have a project where there really are like that many different looking techniques or styles or things within it. I feel like you almost give too much away with some of these. But anyway. Artem says, I love the scene from Family Guy parody for Aha. You must watch it someday. I'll check it out. Cool. But anyway, yeah, I would shorten the clips up. This one's really, really cool. It's super dynamic feeling. I like the amount of clips that you have from this one in there, because it feels like there's different techniques being used, or there's like just more impressive parts of animation. But some of these, like especially this video with the robot, I don't think needs to be shown twice. And this one's kind of interesting at the beginning. But there's not really a whole lot of movement there, you know? Like, it's generally the object is just sitting kind of static and the light's moving over it. But like when you go here, like if instead that first shot, instead of it just sitting and then having the lines going over top, you could have used this shot as the opener instead or something. That might have been just a little more engaging. I don't know. That feels kind of nitpicky on my part, but that's what I would say for that. But let's move on to this one, shall we? Anshul says, tried something from what I learned this weekend. Let's take a look, shall we? But generally, good show reel. I would just adjust a few things on it. Oh, this is cool. It's like an animated website concept. Interesting. Huh. This is very cool. The composition is fantastic. I love that there's just very clear focal points to choose from. It doesn't feel too cluttered or anything. Let's take a look at this again. The text is pretty readable. I mean, from a contrast standpoint, it feels pretty good. What else? Let's see. Let me watch through it another time. I'm a little confused on what this text is doing down here. Like, each of these feel like, and I guess it's because I can't interact with it myself, but if I were to guess, right now it seems like this is just a page link. This might get you back to the home page, and then do you click this to have it scroll for you, or is that just telling you to scroll? Because they're all the same font and the same font weight, it's a little difficult to discern like what each of these is supposed to be doing, or if they're all links or what. So I might spend some time to try and differentiate between these different sections a little bit. Like this could maybe be bolded text or something, and or this is the bolded part because you can click on it and it's like the same color as this or something. I don't know. But it feels like there needs to be some differentiation in each of these. And then 2 out of 2. Here we go. Or maybe I'm about to find out the answer to my question on this. That's cool. But the overall motion and the transitions on things, very, very nice. It feels like, I like that you've offset the transition of each element, so it's not just everything moving off the screen at the same time. There's like one that starts one frame before the other one, and that like cascading effect feels really nice. And I like that things are moving in different directions. It's not just sliding down the page. It subverts expectations a bit from what you'd normally expect of the website. It's very cool. I love it. Very nice. Cool. Let's move on to this one from Unipath CRW. I'm assuming this was made for Unipath CRW by someone in the chat. I can't full screen it though. Okay. Overall, like stylistically, I think it looks really, really cool. The composition is nice. And I like the glows a lot. I mean, you know, I'm a sucker for glows. Everybody here knows that. I'm a deep glow fiend. However, I will say that right off the bat, and it could just be because I'm not in, I mean, I don't know what community this is for or industry or what, but from this little video, I don't quite know what this Unipath organization does, or if it's like, if they're a gaming organization, like what game they primarily play. There's just not really a whole lot of information. But then again, I also don't know if it was supposed to be something that was supposed to communicate something, or if they just needed something to post saying that their recruitment challenge was closed or something. So I'm not entirely sure, but let's see, other feedback. I like the swipe across. It's a cool transition. The central logo, I think, needs to, it's kind of just begging to be animated. Like right now I can see that it's doing the scale up on it, but there's like little sparks that are coming off the top left, and there's this like ring that orbits around here, and just the star itself. You could like pull each of those lines on the corners up and out and like have it snap back into place or something. I think that'd be super cool. So I definitely would want to see a bit more animation to the actual, or micro animation within the logo in the center itself. But overall, stylistically, I think it's really cool. Moving on, let's go to Darkness on Behance by Mahmoud. Okay. Oh wow, okay, this looks really cool already. Hopefully everybody can see this all right on the stream. It should be pretty wide. I see Anshul's in the chat says, hey, I'm a UI UX designer and making my way through motion design. Both are on scroll animations, and thanks for the feedback. I'll work on it. Gotcha. Cool. All right, Mahmoud, let's take a look through this. Or Mahmoud. An attempt to rectify the situation. I love the texture on this. It feels fantastic. And even though there's not like that much animation happening as this guy's raising his arm, it's very, very interesting. Like just the subtle animation of the noise itself makes it feel like there's so much more happening. It's very intriguing, and it's not really something that I see that often. This sort of style anyway. Oh, there's a whole short film. Fantastic. I was really hoping there would be something like that. All right, here we go. Let's turn this up 47 seconds. Let's watch through it, y'all.
Darkness. When my strides are broken underneath. Obscurity lingers and the sound of a fright arises. When disturbance flows in veins as a fierce anguish breaks through the bones. All those persistent attempts to catch the light, to live on, yet all keeps fading away.
Whew. Nobody can see it right now, but I did get a little bit of chills on that one. Oh, and such a powerful message too. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, some of those transitions, like, I mean, there's so many moments. This string that snaps and like ends up sort of disintegrating away, and oh, what else do we got? What was another transition I really like? These like fading in that way it's so cool. It's just like, oh, not to mention the sound design, especially on this part, that bass that rolls in as this moves around.
Fright arises.
So good. I love the sound design on that. The texture overall is absolutely incredible. As someone who often doesn't work with texture very much, and most of that is because of the lack of experience for me, I am absolutely envious of a lot of those transitions, especially some of the ones that really feel hand-drawn. That's so cool. I mean, it's seriously on par with, Buck, what's that, guys? There's a reference I need to show you. What is that? David Blaine. Buck David Blaine. Yes. Okay. This is one of the most incredible videos of all time, I think. And as someone who can't do cell animation or any of that sort of stuff, nuts. But I genuinely think that some of the transitions in here are on par with what they did in this. Really, really incredible work. Oh, and you've got a whole mood board and like sketching set down here. Very cool. I mean, seriously, phenomenal work. I really don't even have much feedback on that at all. It's just so good. I'm kind of left speechless, to be honest. Really, really well done. But yeah, for those of you that haven't seen this video, it is insane. It's by Buck, one of the biggest studios out there, and it still blows my mind every time.
He wants to thrill us. He wants to get our attention. One life and one body in which to live that life. And what if he used that body to do what we've been told is impossible? He would dazzle us. And then, of course, we'd think he was a fake. How many days can a man live without food? How long can a man live without air? Can a man stop a bullet between his teeth, or is it merely a trick? And what if a man turned his stomach into a womb that unleashed marvels into the world? He could breathe fire like a dragon. He could disgorge all manner of living creatures. And the rest of us would refuse to believe what our eyes were telling us. But this is not only magic, it is the spectacle of the real. Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a bumpy night.
I mean, like, come on, do I even have to say anything about that one? Nobody can tell me how all of that was done. That was absolutely nuts. Absolutely insane. Those transitions are just completely out of this world. Let's see. We've got some messages in the chat. Yeah, but Mahmoud, absolutely insane work. I think some of those transitions are totally on par with that. I am very, very jealous of some of your hand-drawn cell work. Let's see. Okay, let's see some of these other messages in the chat. We've got PIRJ says, hello, bro, from Brazil, and I think your lives are very good. Congratulations on your work. Much appreciated. Thank you. Rashab says, wow, everyone is so talented. Am I the only one who is crap? I don't think that's true. I think everybody makes incredible work. Some people just have more experience than others, you know? It is what it is. And then John says, this video is so good. My God, I can watch it for hours. Remember when this drop was sick? Clinton says this was done in After Effects only. I don't know about that. A lot of that was probably hand drawn, I think. And they might have drawn it in After Effects, but I have no idea. They definitely have some behind the scenes and stuff on their site, I'm sure. John says the sound design on that bullet is so good. I totally agree. Buck's the best. That's what teamwork is like. Absolutely. Gnome says, can you send a link to the video? Sure. Here is the video link. So when will Ravi do videos like that? Oh boy. I think I'm trying to stay as far away from Cell as possible. It's insanely expensive. And also just really time consuming. So, probably never, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe someday we'll hire a Cell animator for something. Clinton says this has to be a team. Yeah, it definitely is. Buck is one of the largest agencies in the world. I've seen some shit. Says, did you see Night of the Mini Death by Buck in Love, Death, and Robot season 3, episode 4? I didn't see it, but I saw some clips from it because I follow a lot of the people who work at Buck, and they were posting about it. Amazing video by Buck. Forget the animation. The sound design alone is amazing. If you're looking for cool sound design, that studio is called Ant Food. They only do sound design. It's very, very cool. Jason Lee says represents the mind of David very well. I totally agree. Anyway, just an absolutely ridiculous video. We'll look at some more of my favorites in motion in just a sec. But let me open up some more of these. Right, then this one. Another one here. I'm glad everybody is enjoying this so far. Cool to see everybody come hang out and me also not have to be stressed about getting an animation done. Very fun. All right, we'll pull up a few more of these. For everybody who wasn't here earlier, I'll be doing this until for another like 50 minutes to an hour or so. Would be a rather short one by comparison to our usual shenanigans that we get up to. All right, cool. So then I stopped at this one. All right, here we go. Let's look at Jason Lee. Let's do it. Clinton says, Austin, thanks for sharing these. Of course, I love sharing good motion. It is fantastic. Jason, is there a project you wanted me to look at in particular? Or just any of them? Because otherwise I will just choose. This is fun though. I like doing these. I think I should probably do one of these each week. Maybe once we get a Discord or something set up, I'll be able to do some more like live reviews and stuff in there, as well as doing them here, but maybe more frequently there. But we'll see. I'll grab some water. Give me just a second. I'll be back in like 60 seconds. Alrighty. Clinton says, can we look forward to this every week? I'm not committing to it yet, but it might just happen that way. We'll see. Perhaps. And then Rishav says +1 to every week. We'll see what we can make happen. Things have been pretty busy week lately. However, maybe I could do it for like an hour or something. That wouldn't be too bad. All right, Jason, I'm just going to take a look at this top left one. Here we go.
I've been going back and forth in my head where we're going. Can I feel alive forever? You know I'm trying to keep it cool, but it's you I'm not fooling. Can the speed fall forever?
Dope. Let's watch it one more time.
I've been going back and forth in my head where we're going. Can I feel alive forever? You know I'm trying to keep it cool, but it's you I'm not fooling. Can the speed fall forever?
Alrighty. I wish there was some way for me to be able to scrub through this, but for some reason, I guess maybe because it's not uploaded as a reel, it doesn't let me do that, but that's all right. Okay, so first of all, love gradients, very, very cool. And the grain on the black parts, very, very nice. That pull string transition, super cool. The trails moving after the ball as the like as they're zooming around, I think is super, super cool as well. I have some feedback on the overall motion of some things. So, and I wish that I could find the particular spot or like pause it or something. Like this part in particular, these balls like come in here and they tap up against the central ball, but then they just kind of like shoot off. There's not like, part of me wants some sort of squash and stretch or something. So it feels like there's a little bit more impact on the ball instead of it just like shifting around. And then when they come off the ball, I think the problem is that they like come up and then they stop on the ball. So it looks like they're, instead of it like starting super slow and then slamming into the ball to be able to have it bounce off, it like starts really fast and then barely lines up against the ball and then flies off. And that feels a little weird because that motion doesn't really feel super justified. Like I try to always animate based on, would this make sense with physics? And so there needs to be some reason for that ball to like fly off afterwards. Oh wait, was that a different scene I was talking about just now? Hold on. It's one of these scenes. There's a ball that like bounces off. So sorry. It was the scene before that. My bad. I would just adjust the easing to make sure that things are lining up with, if something just came up and hit something really fast, it should probably jump off pretty quick. And then also when you're doing bounces, it can be helpful to do a couple residual bounces after the first one is done, because in reality, most things don't just bounce up. Or if you're having like a bouncy ball or something, it's not just going to bounce up one time and then hit the ground and completely stop and not move at all. There's always going to be a little tiny bit of an extra bounce afterwards, at least. That would be helpful. Let me watch it through one more time. And then I'll have to move on to the next one so we can get through more of these. But overall, I really like the colors quite a lot. Very fun. That scene in particular I really like, with the ball getting pulled on the string and the particles breaking off from that opening, I think is super cool as well. There's just some parts where it feels like your easing just kind of happens, like there's not really a whole lot of... That's what it is. The motion doesn't really continue. Like the motion happens and then there's a point where everything is just kind of sitting still and then it starts animating again. And an easy way to fix that is going through and adjusting the velocity of each keyframe, to where it like will never be fully at 0 speed. It'll be at like 200 pixels or something is the minimum or something. I would definitely look into that, but very cool overall. Let's move on to this one. This is another one where I can't adjust the audio, so I'm hoping it's not going to blow everyone's ears out. I need to watch this one again. I was checking audio levels. Oh yeah. First of all, sound design, fantastic. Absolutely love it. The gradients feel so dramatic. I don't know. Like I love how high contrast each of the gradients is. It feels really, really nice. The subtle gradients in the background is really cool. And also those bounces. I mean, just come on. Those bounces just feel really juicy and good. And that, like, as the ball is flying around, it like kind of squishes and there's a little trail behind it as it moves, I think is really, really cool as well. I love everything about this. It's very, very cool. The only thing and you kind of do it here. The background, like those gradients change, but it would be really nice to have everything kind of attached to a null. So that way you can have things move around a little bit overall, because it feels like everything is just kind of stuck flat to the center a little bit. Having some sort of like depth either toward the camera where it like scales up and then scales back down or something could be nice. But I also think just like as this ball is swirling around, everything else in the scene could also move over a little bit and come back. So it's like everything is being pulled by whatever object is moving most a little bit. But that's really all I would say. This is super, super cool. Absolutely love it. All right. Ooh, more gradients and orbs. You guys know me too well. I am a sucker for all of this. Let me watch it one more time after this. One more time. Cool. All right. So a couple different things. First of all, love the color palette. Feels really great. The ending bit almost feels like it could totally be just a Headspace ad or some sort of meditation app or something, where those little like pulses come out from it. I love that. And the fact that they like come from the outside to the center is interesting, because I feel like the natural instinct is to have it come from the center and move outward, but it feels really cool to have them go towards the center. I like the lower FPS, but I feel like at some points it hurts you a little bit. And like that section right there. So that ball comes up, but then it like stops suddenly and then gets pulled back down. You lose some of that smoothness to like, where is gravity affecting this, or is it just like some other thing? It doesn't feel as natural for it to just sit there and then move down. I probably would have continued that motion. The other thing, the lighting in the background is changing, like the position of the gradients, but the balls themselves look like they're being lit based on the background a little bit. So when you have them rotate here with those gradients in them, which were originally what was making it look like they were being lit by something, then the lighting is kind of like, you kind of broken that illusion a bit, because it's like, okay, well, where are these lights actually coming from? Why are these lit this way, but like the background is bright on the opposite side? It just messes with the effect a little bit, I think. So I would try and find, like in this situation where you're having those rotate, I probably would have tried to find some other element that I could put around this, like a ring around it that's dashed, so I could still make it look like it was rotating, or maybe like one subtle gradient that's over the top and only that gradient rotates instead, but the base lighting stays the same and consistent with the lighting in the background. That's what I would suggest on that. But it's just super, super cool. The color palette on this one is really, really interesting to me. I would not be surprised if I use it as reference for something in the future. Love that one. Well done, Kef. Well done. Afolabi says, thanks for the feedback, Austin. I appreciate it and would work on them. Cool. Glad to hear it. And of course, happy to help. All right, let's move on to this one. This is, oh yeah, somebody mentioned this earlier asking if I had looked at this called Beat Eater. Let's bring the audio back up. There we go. Is it a lyric video or music video? Oh, it's a lyric video. I see. This reminds me a lot of, and I won't watch the entire thing, just because I don't want it to take super long, because it is 3 minutes. But that's interesting. Where did that 3D scene come from? Interesting. The lighting in those scenes is really cool. What I was going to say is this reminds me a lot of, there's like, I found there to be like the motion design community, which is more corporate probably and working with lots of companies. It's more business oriented. And then there's like the editing community, which is a lot of, it seems like it's more so just for fun. And it's a lot of people doing transitions like this, where it's lots of swiping back and forth with static images and like these lighting effects around the edges and type sliding around the screen super smoothly. I've always thought it looked super interesting. And I think a lot of people in that space are just really inherently good at timing things well, which is always really, really fun for me. I've seen some shit says I have a lot of good 3 to 4 second videos, but don't want to spam them. I mean, feel free to send whatever you want. I'll get through what I can, but I only have like another 45 minutes or something, so I just won't be able to get through everything. Kef says, thanks for the feedback. Agung says, big respect, my guy. BZOA. Mr. Bag says, nice work, Kef. I agree. Great work, Kef. And Mervin says, like the story behind this video. What is the story behind this video? I don't know. But anyway, super cool. Like the colors that they're using a lot, and like the different uses of background elements is cool too. There's always something happening on the screen, which I think is really important. But let's move on to Fable animation with this video, and it has a scroll bar, so I can scroll through it. How nice. Here we go. Oh wait, let's read the description first. Animation work for Asian Paint Solo Commerce. Oh, for their event, Color Next 2022. Oh, I love like event openers. They're so fun. The subtle animation is super cool on a lot of those objects. Really nice UI animations. Right off the bat, I will say that having like all of these other 3D things here, and then getting to this part, and like you can tell that it's just flat objects rotating, messes with the rest of it a little bit, I think. That feels like it breaks out of the style a bit, but that's the only thing I've really caught so far. Not to mention the amount of detail in the background is incredible. I mean, that takes like a day or two alone just to figure out how to put this many things in the background. Nice. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I mean, other than the comment that I had before, really the only thing I would add is that here, this like long buildup, it feels like this is where that information should have been, and this should have been the end of the video. I get that I mean, I'm assuming it was probably a client revision to like add those extra sections at the end to showcase more like products and those sorts of things, but I feel like this space in the sky would have been a really good spot to have that info and then eventually like go into a logo animation or something. Because I was a little surprised that it kept going here, because the music really sounded like it was completely wound down. But super cool. Love the like set design and illustration on this a lot. Very cool. Moving on. I'm trying to go a little bit faster so that I can get through more people. Sorry if I'm not spending too much time on some of these. I feel like I've seen this. I really feel like I've seen this one before. Let's find out. This is by Lucas Zorzetto. Ooh, that focus pull is nice. That gradient's really cool too. Ooh. Oh, it loops? Yes! The sound design on this one's so good. I think I'm gonna have to turn it up on the stream because it's just so quiet. But wow, is that cool. It feels so serene and ethereal. Oh, and like that part, it feels like it taps the screen and does a little... and almost looks like it does a little pulse up against the screen. That's so cool. I feel like I definitely saw this recently, or some like other like video from a series like this. Do you do lots of different ones like this, Lucas? I'd absolutely love it. The use of gradients is super nice. The 3D on this feels really, really good. There's always something happening. In terms of like it's never sitting still. It feels like it's dancing a little bit. When these balls come out and they plop down the stairs with the sound design, it feels so good. Really interesting transitions too. This orb itself is really just something else. This is so cool. The only comment that I would have is like there's this little bit of aliasing around it. This like stroke of white that's on it, it doesn't seem completely intentional, but I mean, other than that, that's literally the only thing I'd have to say about this one. It's so cool. The sound design is phenomenal. Three videos with this theme. John says, not sure about the flashes in the door. I like them, honestly. Well, yeah, I actually like the flashes quite a bit. But it would be cool. I guess it would make sense. You have this pretty highly detailed orb here. If you're going to have this light back here, I think you need to have some sort of rim light around these. Or if there is one more than is already there, to make it look like that light is brighter. Because I can tell that, I mean, you've tried to do that by having these like trails coming off of it. But I think you'll really be able to tell how bright it is if you've got some glow on the top of each object in the scene, with some of that white on it. Cool. Well done. Tristan says, how are you doing, Austin? I'm doing great. I'm just getting to sit here and look at cool motion and just say whatever's in my head. Sounds good. Doing well. All right. Let's look at week 1. Ooh. I don't know whose this is, but it looks very cool from the get-go. Was this in After Effects or Cinema 4D or something? I genuinely don't know how that's done. I really don't know. In After Effects, at least, I really have no idea. Is it synced to the music? Or does it just go back the way it was before? I think it just gets pulled back. Super cool though. Feels very relaxing. I could easily see this being used as like you know, on Spotify they have they're called canvases. Those video backgrounds while the song is playing. I could totally see this for one of those. Super cool. John says, I think it's this is talking about the last video. I think it's the opacity changes. The rest of the animation looks great with the gradients. And I think if the flashes would add some of those, lighting specs, it would look much better. Get the flashes or flares. I don't know what you call it. I think I get what you're saying. Like it should just, I mean, what I'm interpreting from that is that it would look, the flash in the door would have worked better if there wasn't like a fade down. Like if you couldn't tell that the opacity was changing over an amount of time and it was just kind of like flashing between using hold keyframes or something. So it's always just 0 or 100 or nothing else. I think that I would agree with that. Grant says it's Blender. That's cool. I love Blender. I have very, very minimal Cinema 4D experience. The 3D that I do know is Blender, but I definitely don't know how to do this. I'm assuming it's geometry nodes or something. I don't know. It was super cool. Oh, this looks fancy. Almost 15,000 views on Vimeo. That's a feat. I make visual effects for music in Blender. That's dope, Grant. I think it's super cool. All right, this is called Never Undo. Oh, really cool looking 3D already.
是我搞砸了吧？还没来得及反应，这一切。
Is that a 3D person? Because if so, and I'm sorry I'm pausing it in the middle of it, but that looks incredible. I feel like it probably is a 3D person, but and it's just something about the eyes, but I don't know. Maybe the hair that's throwing me off? I don't know. Anyway.
反应，这一切就这么发生了。
2020，给我看看，给我看看，2020。
看病了啦！
本来还想着大干一场，结果却让彼此更远了。今天准备了这么多，真的可惜了。大概只有匠人不会怪我。与热爱相伴，总能消除一些寂寞。老师，我来取东西了。也许，将这个我撤回。才是正确的事，这样，一切才会变成大家所期望的样子吧。
2020，对不起，我真的不是故意的。
没关系，2020，
我们一起祈祷吧。Let's
pray for the earth.
Let's pray.
他们 天都有无数的责任、过失、愧疚和告解，但只要你愿意，生活依然可以宁静纯洁。
艾琳，你看，
日落、月升、星繁，谢谢你们陪我度过这最美的夜。
Is there more? Oh, it's credits. Oh my goodness. Y'all, that's crazy. 3D. Man, I just how quickly 3D technology has improved is absolutely bonkers to me. Like a lot of that looked incredibly realistic, almost too realistic. And then interspliced with the actual footage makes it so difficult. Like it really sells it even more to try and figure out like which part is 3D and which one isn't. Except for the parts where you're like, obviously that's not a real thing. Like that doesn't exist, but it looks like it could. It's so crazy. That's such a good video. And is it just one person? Is it just one person that makes all that, or is it are they a studio? Or no, okay, it's a bunch of different people. I was gonna be real upset if it was just one person that they could make something like that. Wow, that's crazy. I'm totally giving this to Noah as reference because he will love that. Wow, thank you for sharing that. I'm assuming it was John, because he said Somei is one of the best 3D animators I know. But sheesh, man, that's crazy stuff. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. I know there's a bunch of other pieces in here, and you know what? I think I'll just save them for the next stream so that we can get through some of these questions and things that are left. But we will get to them, I promise. And at least this way we have a bracket we can go through in the next one. But for now, I think I'm going to close down this section of it. We'll look at some other work, maybe some old stuff, and then I will answer some questions in the chat. But yeah, cool. All right, we got a question from and also just phenomenal work. Thank you guys for participating in that. It's always really, really cool to me to get everybody else involved and be able to see what's going on in the community. So appreciate you guys being open and willing to show your work like that and have it be shown in front of an audience. So very cool. John says, nah, Somei did some great solo work. For example, Oppo ads. Oh, Oppo ads are a whole thing. They're so good. But now I think he has his own studio. Cool. That's the way to do it. Make really cool stuff and then have your own studio, I think. Sweet. Anyway, let's do this. Muzamil says, hey, Austin, I know you already have talked about pricing, but how about a 3-minute 2D explainer? Illustrations, mid-level, animation, sound design, VO is going to be made by the studio. Is 15K okay? I mean, that depends on like experience level and all sorts of different stuff for sure. But at Revi, we would probably sell a 3-minute explainer for 3-minute explainer for what would it be? So a 60 is usually 15 to yeah, okay, it would definitely be way more. So a 3-minute from us would probably be anywhere from 30 to 35K ish, something like that. At like base level, just like we're gonna knock it out sort of thing. So that I mean, I don't know, depending on where you live and who you have working for you and all that stuff, your pricing may be totally different. Also how long it's going to take you is a pretty important thing to take into account too, making sure that it's worth your time. But yeah, I don't know. I would think that'd be fine. I mean, it's a way better than what a lot of people are charging, I'll tell you that much. Lots of people are out here selling their work for ridiculously low prices. So I think depending on where you are, I think that 15K sounds like a decent option for sure. But that is a lot of animation to have to do. So I don't know. I would need more info, honestly. John says pricing questions are always so hard. What's your day rate? I never know what's a good number. Yeah, I mean, it's all sorts of different factors that come into figuring out what people should price on things. It's a really difficult thing to figure out because I mean, the only reason Ravi charges what we charge is based on the amount of people that we want to be able to have on the team and the amount of projects we're able to take on at a time, and our experience level and the level of demand and all sorts of different things. It's really, really difficult to pin down without like being the person that is making that price. Like, it's hard to tell somebody else what they should be charging for something, you know? But I know like averages anyway for different lengths of content, but it depends on like a studio versus an agency versus a freelancer or whatever. It's a difficult thing to nail down for sure. But I mean, I would think 15K would totally be like, if you're worried about just somebody being able to afford that or something, if it's a company, I mean, that seems totally viable. But yeah, and then the day rate, yeah, that's a whole different thing. I mean, at Review, we went through like every pricing option in the book. We did hourly, and we did value-based pricing, we did day rates, and now we're doing largely based off of the length of the content, but at like a flat rate that's charged 50% up front and 50% on delivery. But whew, that stuff is difficult to figure out. And I don't think it's ever going to be one of those things where it's just like, yep, this is what we're doing and this is how it's going to work forever. It's always a pretty malleable thing, I think. Clinton says a 3-minute explainer is long. Yes, it is. I agree. Most of the content that we're doing is around, it's sub 60 seconds these days. Like 60 is usually the cap that we're doing. And at least we try to tell clients that that's probably where they should be aiming for. Most people don't have the attention span to sit on social and watch like a 3-minute long video or something anymore. You got to get your stuff done quickly and then get them over to the website so that they can get more info. Rishav says you guys went from $15 projects to 15K projects. I mean, I guess I did show the Oblivion design stuff earlier that did show that, what was it? It was, let's look at that. What were we charging at that point? Let's do a whole business. Yeah, a whole business revamp was $30. And at that point, I wasn't really doing motion for anybody. So that would have just been like a couple static ads, a banner, a profile picture, and those sorts of things for $30. But yes. Would you suggest a person read Freelance Manifesto to help? I've actually never heard of that book, but Moved Shapes says Freelance Manifesto is such a good book, honestly. So I would say so. Sure. Why not? More knowledge. Why not? Go for it. But I personally haven't read it. It's just one of those things I think you figure out as you're in the industry. I mean, yeah, like Rishav said, I mean, we were selling stuff for basically no money for a very long time. The first stuff that I was selling was like a banner for YouTube that you could buy for like 99 cents or something. And that slowly changed over time, obviously, because these aren't even 99 cents, and it's 2016 at this point. It was probably like 2013 or 2014 that I was doing 99 cents for stuff. But yeah, definitely not there anymore. Thankfully. No, we'll charge. We're really not taking many projects these days, unless it's like a first engagement that might lead to more work or something in the future. We're really not taking any projects for less than like 10K at this point. That's the like minimum for us to be able to take on at this point. Some of the stuff that we're doing that is below there is like sometimes we'll do Lottie animations. Lots of people are coming to us to do interactive animations on their website, where we're just animating it and we're giving them the Lottie file, and then their development team is usually integrating it, but we'll work with them to make sure that it works from like loading time and all that stuff. Those are a little bit more difficult to price and are not nearly as expensive as full explainer videos by any means, but they're also like useful once you've already got the person to the website. So They're helpful, but I would definitely think that like our top tier normal content that we're doing and that we like to do most is the explainer content, and that like top of funnel, getting people in the door type content. Clinton says, I'm now clearing my weekends for these streams. Yeah, some of these are, especially if it's a day where we've done an animation or something and it's gone on for like 9 hours. Yeah, I've gotten comments from people saying that now they got to book out their whole weekends. It's funny. Moved Shape says that Freelance Manifesto is written by Joey Korenman, who's the guy who founded School of Motion. It's always on your desk. That's cool. Yeah, Joey seems like a really, really cool guy. I gotta chat with him at some point. Tristan says our Behance link's fine as well. Sure, go for it. Bosky says, how much you charge for Lotties? Depends. How much needs to be explained in the animation? How many Lotties are there? Where are they going to be placed? It's a much more, like with videos, we've gotten to a point where we can pretty much determine just based on the length how much we need to charge for it and how long it's going to take. But we haven't been doing Lottie animations for nearly as long, so we have to go through the whole process of creating a quote and all of that more than we would have to with a normal video. But typically, I mean, really, it depends. It's anywhere from like hundreds to thousands of dollars for each Lottie animation, depending on all of the factors I listed before. Anshul says, is it a good time to niche down in UI animations or interactive Lottie animations? Lots of companies are wanting Lottie animations. I don't know that that means you necessarily have to niche down to them, but it's helpful to have knowledge of it for sure. But I personally don't think that it is nearly as, it doesn't make nearly as much of an impact or nearly as much money as top of funnel explainer content or brand films. Lucas says, School of Motion as well have a post about charge based on day rates. Oh yeah, I'm sure they have a bunch of different info on that. Rishav says, what's a Lottie? A Lottie animation is, I'll use the review website as an example. So if you go to the review website and you move your cursor around, this ball will also move depending on where the mouse is on the screen. And this is just an animation that we made in After Effects that started here. And then, so this is like time 0. And then at the end of the animation is here. So it just moves a little bit. And then there's a plugin called Body Movin' that you can get on AE scripts, and it will export that animation as a JavaScript file. And then depending on who you use to make your website, you can integrate that animation, because it's JavaScript, into the site directly. And it's much more, it performs so much better than GIFs at this point. It's just smoother. You can actually do interactions with it. It's just a very useful tool. But there's all sorts of limitations. Like, I mean, there's a whole feature set of things in Lottie that are just not available right now. Some different types of masks and mats and basically any effect that you would apply to a layer like from the actual effects panel in After Effects just doesn't work. But generally shapes are okay. Anyway, there's a bunch of different things. There's all sorts of documentation on that. But it's very, very interesting. We have another one on, and this is really how we started getting into it. On our Get in Touch page, there's this thing down at the bottom that'll show like what the process will be to work with us. And so you fill out the form and we review your responses to make sure it's a good fit for us and you. And then you click the button to go to the next one. And then it's just going from the 0% mark on the animation to like 25% into the animation now on each click. So you keep going through and yada, yada. There's like 4 or 5 steps. And then bada bing, bada boom, at the end, all of it animates on. That's the coolest part of the website, and it's like tucked away on this bottom of this Get in Touch page, but I still think it's really cool. And then there's like weird things where if you like click this again, it's like, okay, got to start from the last point and then go again. But anyway, they're super fun. We love working on Lottie animations. They can be really interesting to figure out. Can you link the tool? Sure. 1 second. AE scripts body moving. Here is the plugin that lets you export to Lottie, and it's also name your own price, so you can get it for free if you want. Musamil says, I hope to own my own animation studio and was wondering, is it really profitable? And as animator/founders, any tips about making and managing and opening a studio? There's a lot to cover in that. Let's see where to start. First thing you asked was, is it really profitable? It can be, depending on how fast you animate and concept and all of those different things, as well as how low you can keep your overall costs. Like for Noah and I, our overhead is pretty low because we have like our subscriptions to some software and things that we use, and then like help paying for rent on the house and those sorts of things. But generally, we don't have to pay that much every month. For things, so we're able to like just pay ourselves and the other people that work with us, and that's really where most of our expenses are going, and so we keep our overhead pretty low. So it can be, it's all depending on how you set it up. And as animator/founder, any tips maybe about managing and opening a studio? I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things with this. Ravi is really only just starting to get on the map for people over the past few months. And oh, Rishav says, okay, it's late for me. Good night. Good night, Rishav. Appreciate you hanging out. Anyway, one of the things that you'll hear time and time again from different founders of animation studios is as you move into more of that management and founder role, and you're not going to animate nearly as much. It becomes a lot less about the actual animation and the art of it as it does working on the business. There's a saying that lots of people use where they talk about working on versus working in the business. And as an animator, or if you hire an animator, they are working in the business. They are working on the different projects and they're in it every single day in After Effects and working on stuff. But if you're at more of the management level, you're working on the business. You're trying to figure out, do I need to hire more people? What are our projections financially for the next few months to make sure that your cash flow is all right to manage the amount of people and expenses that you have? What are some industries that we might want to target? What sort of sales activities do we want to get into? What business are we interested in doing? All sorts of more just holistic looking at the overall business as an entity and figuring out how to push it further as kind of like this separate thing. Not really as much about like, I need to make this really awesome looking video, because that's just not, it's not as much about the art anymore once you're in that position. And it's weird for me because I hear that from a lot of people, but I'm also sitting here making a loop every week, but I'm also our main animator on most projects because I'm faster at animating than Noah is. So Noah at this point is doing more legwork on some of the concepting and things for some of our client projects, and then I'm doing more of the animation for it. I mean, it switches per project, but generally that's how it's been going. And so I'm in this weird kind of middle ground where we're like starting to bring on help to be able to do more of the day-to-day animation and those things. But right now I'm still the main person doing that, as well as being the main person on sales and doing live streams and meeting with people and talking to you guys and those sorts of things. So anyway, it's kind of a whirlwind, to be honest. You just start to wear different hats than you might be used to wearing as an animator. It just becomes a different job. Zonak says, I've been binge watching all of your live streams lately. Glad to hear it. Hopefully not all at once because they are each like 6 hours long or more. Artem says favorite commercials. Yes, I haven't forgotten. Do not worry. Let me pull up the list. Give me just a moment. Here we go. All right, 1 second. I gotta disable this so that I can bring up the list. All right. 1 second, everybody. All right. I got it pulled up on my other monitor. We are good. Cool. Let's take a look at some cool videos, shall we? They're all going to start playing at once, aren't they? That's unfortunate. And I guess these aren't all commercials, but just cool motion design nonetheless. All right, and then Doug Alberts, HoloLens, Lockheed. Let's close some of these down. All right. Where to start? I think we got to start with some of my favorite folks. Not a joke because of the name. Here we go. All right, we're not actually animating. Everybody ignore this piece of text that's below me. This does not, it's lying. It's lying to you. We're not animating right now. But let's look at some cool stuff on the monitor. Well, it's larger like this. All right, so most of you have probably heard of Ordinary Folk at this point. They're a studio based out of Canada. Absolutely wonderful people, founded by Jorge Canedo. Lots of really, really cool people from the industry working there. Greg Stewart, a notable name, absolutely incredible animator. Anyway, they just make ridiculous stuff. It all looks really, really good. I mean, we could look at every single one of these videos and all of them are absolutely killer. But we'll look at their older reel for now. Maybe, does this have the no? Ow, that's loud. We're just gonna look at some of their projects because I don't think it has some of their new stuff in it. First, let's watch this one. I actually used this as reference for my animation last night. There is a part in there where there is a pillar that moves up and has these spinning shapes inside of it, and there is this very, very similar section in here. But anyway, let's watch this video, and then we'll watch a couple other ones from them.
Welcome, elasticians.
If this were a normal year, there'd be hugs.
But hey, we're used to this, right?
Our teams are spread further around the globe than some.
But we still manage to stay closer than most.
I mean, we've been meeting online just as we are, long before the rest of the world.
Because life?
Work.
Life.
It all begins with us.
We might pack more into a release than most.
But that's because we do it together. And we do it right.
You got a challenge for us? Let's pull together and get it done.
Let's find the solution and shift what's possible.
And let's keep being who we are.
Because who we are is what makes us elastic.
Absolutely phenomenal video. Literally every single video on their portfolio and that they've ever done is so good. Absolutely check them out. We don't have enough time to go through all of them, but they're so good. Highly encourage checking them out. I don't really want to look at that one. That's one that Noah likes. I don't really like that one too much either. I mean, I like it. It's just not my favorite thing. One of our freelancers we work with, his name is Johan. He makes some really, really incredible stuff. Here's one of my favorites of his. It's very loud. So sorry, everybody. Here we go. Come on, Johan. Here we go. All right, take a gander at this one. This is just a spec project he made. It's not a commercial, but still just really cool motion. Oh, it's not. There we go. Okay, I'll restart it. It wasn't playing it. 1 second. There we go. One of the best animators of all time. And I'm so glad that we get to work with him on some projects and things from time to time. He's a very, very cool guy. I'll link his Instagram. I think he is criminally underrated. Is it this one? Nope, that's not it. Johan. There we go. Absolutely wonderful animator. Every single one of you should go follow this man right now. he makes his own music for a lot of his content. It's absolutely incredible. And I just, that video itself, it feels like it's just punching out. It's like I'm getting hit in the face with these visuals every time, but it's like it's in a good way. It's just so intense and dramatic. I really love it. The impact is really, really cool. Anyway, love Johan's stuff. Very, very cool guy. Would highly recommend checking him out. Alexa, stop. My you-know-who is going off. If I say her name, Bezos will start listening to me. Anyway, I see some questions in the chat. I'll answer those. Clinton says, how does one think up these videos? Lots of experience, honestly. It's just, it's a lot of experience working on different pieces of content, but then at the same time, taking in lots of content like this and just really being in the work. Looking at what's cool in the industry and what people are taking interest with, and then being able to take little parts of that and morph it with like another project you've seen. All motion design and general design is just like taking little bits and pieces from things that you enjoy and just mushing it together until you make something that feels new from those things. Which I know is kind of a cop-out answer to say that like it's just experience and really getting in there, but that's really what it is to me. Musamil says, by the way, what is your opinion on 2D in the future? A lot of people say it'll be dead soon, but I think it'll stay forever. I think it'll stay forever as well. I think a lot of people are a little worried about 3D taking over because it's just so, I mean, it's not easier. It's a very, very difficult thing, but you can put so much more into the scenes, it feels like, with 3D work than you can with 2D sometimes. And you can feel that depth inherently because it is a 3D thing, and so it feels more real, and there's chances to like wow people a bit easier with adaptive lighting and those sorts of things. But I really think it's just about just making good motion. Like I'm sitting here really not worried or scared at all as a 2D motion designer because I know that I'm making good stuff right now. And people are really gravitating towards it. And people who are in these like new emerging industries of Web3 and crypto and all of these people who are really interested in 3D work are just as interested in the 2D. And I think they see the potential with it. So anyway, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I think it'll just need to adapt to be different, stylistically or otherwise. Muzamil says, damn, he also made all the sound. I believe he made all the sound for that one, yeah. And Muzamil said, what? He got 50 likes on his post, underrated. That's what I'm saying. It does not feel right for this man to be getting less engagement on his posts than me. I want him to blow up. But anyway. It is almost that time. I will be hopping off here in about 3 minutes, so I'll take the last little bit here to just answer some more questions. I'll do this again sometime next week or the week after. We'll look through some more work, both from you guys and from just work I like in the industry, those sorts of things. But for now, I want to leave this space for people to ask any burning questions in this last little bit before I hop off for the day. Wait for the chat to catch up. Anything at all, lay it on me. BZOA says, congrats on 1,000 subscribers in advance. Are we there already? I can't see it right now, but oh, I guess, yeah, it will be pretty soon. Huh. Very cool. Younger me who was doing like Minecraft YouTube videos and stuff would be absolutely going nuts right now. Very cool. Clinton says 2D ain't going anywhere. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just going to change. There's all sorts of things that 2D just works well for, and it's got nostalgia attached to it for a lot of people if you're doing more cell animated things. So that's a pretty powerful thing to stick around. And then there's also emerging things like this whole moving shapes around and like bopping into each other, that just like flashy, snappy shape stuff is a pretty new thing. At least I feel like in the way that I'm doing it, it feels like it's a bit of a refresh on some of the ways people have been doing that traditionally. And I think there's going to be a lot more people that start doing things like that. And it's just shapes. It's like it's the most pulled back version possible of an art, in my opinion. I don't see it going anywhere. Maybe I'm just saying this to comfort myself, but who knows? Mervin says, your thoughts on DALL-E 2 and Midjourney? I might be able to get access to DALL-E soon. I'm very hopeful. We have some connections with some clients we've been working with who have access and might be able to get us in, so we'll see. But Noah played around with Midjourney a little bit. I think it's super, super cool. I use the DALL-E Mini that's available to everybody all the time, just to generate stupid ideas. It's really, really interesting to me. And there are some things coming in the future that are going to really blow everybody's mind with what we can do with this, with those sorts of programs. I really don't think it's as scary of a thing as a lot of people are, purporting it to be. As a designer, and having to sit there and struggle on storyboarding and those sorts of things, I would love to be able to just like type in a little phrase and have a composition already made for me. Even if it doesn't look perfect, it just gives me an idea that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise, or that would have taken me longer. So I'm really looking forward to it as that technology matures and seeing how we'd be able to use it as a studio. I think it'll be really interesting. Ziner says, just going to say thanks for all the videos and time you're giving to the community. Much appreciated. I'm glad to be here. It's fun for me too. And BZOA says that would be awesome. Alrighty, well, I shall be off then. I'll get back to my Sunday relaxing before getting back to some projects tomorrow. But appreciate all of you for coming out. I will let everybody know when I'm doing another one of these, as well as keeping everyone up to date on potentials with the Discord server and more community related things that we have in the works. There's lots of stuff coming, so get excited. I'll be posting the loop that I made last night in about an hour, so be on the look for that. Be on the look for that too. I'm missing some word in there. I don't know why it's not connecting right now. Look out for that in an hour. Anyway, yeah, other than that, I will see y'all next week. Hope you guys have a killer rest of your Sunday.